College Football Week 10 Preview, Alabama seeks revenge on LSU, final Bedlam Series game in Big 12. There are 5 top 25 games on Saturday. The calendar has flipped to November and true football season is upon us. The Big 10 will inevitably see a snow game shortly as the ability to establish a running game will become of the utmost importance. With the colder weather comes the first college football playoff ranking as the last year of the 4-team playoff creeps ever closer. Ohio State is the #1 team in the country, followed by Georgia, Michigan, and Florida State. Losses late in the year will doom the national championship hopes of many teams, while rivalry games will determine who gets to play in the CFP. It is the best time of the year, so let's take a look at a few games to be aware of in Week 10 of the college football season. Number 7 Texas vs. Number 23 Kansas State, noon Eastern Time. The Longhorns received a boost last week when unranked Kansas upset the Oklahoma Sooners, creating a logjam at the top of the Big 12 conference. There is now a 5-way tie atop the Big 12 as Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, and Iowa State are all 4-1 in the conference. Week 10 should provide some clarity in the Big 12 as Texas and Kansas State square off, and Oklahoma State play their Bedlam series for the last time in the conference before the Sooners head to the SEC in 2024. The Longhorns will start Malik Murphy at quarterback for the second straight game as Quinn Ewers continues to deal with a shoulder sprain. Against BYU in Week 9, Murphy was 16-25 for 170 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. The Kansas State defense, ranked 3rd in the Big 12 right behind Texas in yards allowed per game, will be tasked with stopping an offense that has averaged 34.5 points per game. The Wildcat defense has not allowed a touchdown over the last 9 quarters. We're playing at an elite level, which is what we've been trying to achieve the whole year, Wildcats defensive end Nate Matlack said. It feels good to be playing at this level, shutting guys out or holding them to one score. That's the goal. Kansas State's offense is 4th in the conference in yards per game, 464.4, and 2nd in points, 37.4. Texas needs to avoid a second loss in order to keep its CFP hopes alive. Number 2 Georgia vs. Number 12 Missouri, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Kirby Smart has his team playing its best football at the right time as the schedule finally reaches a difficult stretch. After Missouri visits Athens, the Bulldogs will face 2 more top 25 opponents in Ole Miss and Tennessee. However, the 7-1 Tigers come first as Missouri is seeking its first win over a #1 ranked team in program history. Missouri head coach Eli Drinkwitz is trying to get his team to block out the outside noise. Regardless of the outcome of the game, the job of the media and social media is to create narratives. Our job is to ignore them and try to be 1-0, Drinkwitz said, according to the Kansas City Star. And, what's at stake in this game is no different than what was at stake when we played at Vandy, at Kentucky, at home versus South Carolina. If you don't play well in those games or you lose those games, then you lose any other opportunities. The Missouri defense has held its last 2 opponents, Kentucky and South Carolina, to under 300 total yards as they prepare for a Georgia offense averaging 506.5 yards per game. Junior quarterback Carson Beck has thrown 11 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in the past 5 games as the Bulldogs' winning streak has grown to 25. I think Coach Smart and his staff have done probably the best job they've done since they've been there to be in the situation that they're in currently, Drinkwitz said. Number 22 Oklahoma State vs. Number 9 Oklahoma, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The last game of the Bedlam series in the Big 12 has major implications for the CFP hopes of the conference. With Oklahoma heading to the SEC in 2024, the rivalry between the 2 in-state schools appears to be coming to an end. The rivalry, known as Bedlam, dates back to 1914, and the 2023 matchup is the final scheduled game between the 2 schools for the foreseeable future. When Oklahoma decided to leave the Big 12, they chose to end Bedlam. It's a one-sided deal. People were trying to decide what happened and what needs to happen to make it go on. They kept pushing Oklahoma State into it. We didn't have jack to do with that, Oklahoma State head coach Mike Gundy told Action Network in July. They left the conference, Bedlam goes with it. Gundy and his Cowboys have a chance to end Oklahoma's CFP hopes as the Sooners are looking to avoid a second consecutive loss. Oklahoma has won 17 of the last 20 meetings between the 2 programs, but Oklahoma State comes in winners of 4 straight.